Brooke, Ridge and Eric discuss the beauty of the Amalfi Coast as they drive to their hotel in Italy. Fans wave as they drive up and Eric laughs. Let's make some memories. Bold and beautiful shocking reveal. Luna is alive. They are welcomed in Naples, led into the hotel, and taken to the rooftop for a reception. They like the vista and can't wait for the enchantment of Italy to begin. On the dock, Nick is greeted by a man who points out his boat and Luigi, who is working on it. Nick reminds him to be ready. He has a really specific plan. Luigi receives additional instructions, and the host inquires about Nick's plans for the day. It's a vacation to a mystical land where kissing your loved one will grant them eternal life. Nick chuckles. That's the plan, my man. Luigi is dealing with an issue with the boat's steering wheel. Nick constantly telling his host that everything has to be flawless. The man warns that there appears to be an issue with the boat's hydraulics, but they are investigating. When the man goes away, Nick looks up to see Brooke at her rooftop reception. He observes, "It's time to let the fun begin." Brooke, Ridge and Eric greet some visitors on the roof, and Eric thanks everyone for coming, raising their glasses to everybody. Salut! Ridge stares out at a maroon ship before rejoining Brooke and a few others for a selfie. He then excuses himself. Eric arranges to travel to Capri early in the morning, and Brooke exclaims in amazement when Nick appears. Ciao Bella! Nick asks Brooke to have some fun. She believes she can squeeze it in. He will not accept no as an answer. She chuckles and says, okay. Nick announces, it's a date. Eric watches as they kiss. Taylor and Donna debate. Taylor informs Donna at the Forrester mansion that Ridge has confirmed their safe arrival in Italy via text message. Donna misses her honey bear, and Taylor misses Ridge already. They wish they could have followed along. Taylor says they will go next time when it is not a business trip. She wonders if Nick Marone will crash the party. Donna expresses surprise at his unexpected return to Los Angeles. Taylor says Nick is now in charge of his father's entire fleet. They recollect his arriving into their life as a result of a shipwreck and remember his yacht, the Shady Marlin. Taylor speculates that this is where Brooke and Nick eventually got married. It's too bad it didn't last. Donna wonders if she truly believes they may have a future. Taylor claims he came back only to see her. Donna isn't sure Brooke would go down that road again. She wants her sister to be happy, but they both know only one person can make her happy. Sorry. Donna wonders if Nick is truly interested in Brooke, or if Taylor is simply fantasizing. Taylor claims she spoke to him herself. Donna believes Brooke is loved by all men, even her husband Eric. Taylor insists that Ridge isn't. She's certain he won't have time for any of Brooke's games during the trip. Donna suspects she's hoping Nick will distract her. Taylor shrugs and says he's always up for an adventure. She trusts Ridge but is betting Brooke will make a move. Donna defends her sister, but concedes she's correct that Nick is quite the catch. Taylor is certain Brooke will find him irresistible. Donna wonders whether he plans to make Brooke his personal business in Italy. They discuss Taylor and Nick's similar desire for Brooke to let go of Ridge. Taylor sincerely wishes the best for her. Donna wonders whether Ridge will be bothered if her sister ends up with Nick. Taylor insists he has moved on. Maybe Donna should support a Nick/Brooke reunion. Donna says he isn't her first option. Taylor thinks that's too bad. Ridge is not an option. Perhaps Brooke will find happiness with Nick. What is Lee up to? Finn yells out to Lee, who is going by his office with a box. She declares that she is taking a leave of absence. Finn frowns. She adores her job and despises the idea of being unemployed. What is all this about? Lee claims she is exhausted. After Luna's death and discovering what Poppy did to him, she simply needs some time. Finn questions his mother, who keeps saying, it's time. She shifts the discussion to Steffi, who is also taking some time off with the kids. Finn understands, but he misses them so much. He keeps telling himself how lucky he is that she is safe. Luna almost made it so I'd never see my wife again. Lee says she'll be gone as long as she needs to be. She hasn't decided if she'll stay in town. Finn chuckles at the prospect of her resting and reading. It's very unusual for her to take a vacation on a whim. Lee claims she's exhausted and urges her kid not to worry about her. There is something I need to take care of, Finn. Something I had to accomplish a long time ago. Lee's shocking secret. Later, Lee moves her box inside her home office and places it there. She opens the top and pulls out medical items. Lee then pulls aside a curtain, revealing a hospital bed. Luna resides within it. Lee did almost exactly what we expected her to do on The Bold and the Beautiful. Did we suppose she surreptitiously grabbed Luna and stashed her away so she could nurture her back to health, and transform her into the lady she could have been if Lee had just been nice to her or Poppy once in 20 years? Yes. But did we expect her to be that obvious about it? No. It's not like Lee hasn't done this before. She did it with Finn years ago after Sheila shot him for the same reason Luna was pursuing Steffi. Lee presumably still had the bed and equipment from then. But telling Finn that she, a workaholic for the past 40 years, was going to take a quick sabbatical was our first indication that something was wrong. Lee's announcement of Luna's death, claiming she had made decisions for her body and no one could see her, was a red flag. But not for Finn. So Lee told him today, ostensibly because he walked into her office and noticed a box, that she had suddenly decided it's time for her to take her first career sabbatical, and that her intention was to read a book. Of course Finn had questions, but he was not suspicious. Which was excellent because in the middle of the statement Lee appeared and said she needed to run out the door. Finn still didn't get it, so Lee gave him one last hint before she left. Ominously, she informed him that she needed to take care of something she should have done long ago. If only Finn had a clue. Want more information? We've got you. Soap Central provides the greatest comprehensive B&B recaps on the internet. You can go back over 30 years and read them all. If you can't wait for the next episode, we also have daily spoilers. Do not overdo it this weekend. Don't forget to read the 2 scoops for some chuckles and the closest thing we can get to being a watching party without actually being a program. And the best part is if you agree or disagree, let us know. As always, please leave a remark below. The gentle glow of the Italian sun poured across Florence's cobblestone streets as Brooke Logan stepped out of the taxi, her sandals tapping lightly against the pavement. The air was filled with the scent of fresh espresso and blooming jasmine. She lowered her sunglasses and took a moment to appreciate the grandeur of the Tuscan architecture surrounding her. The building stood towering and ageless, drenched in warm gold and ochre tones, with shutters that opened like eyes welcoming the day. It had been years since her last trip to Italy, and returning was like opening a door that had been kept locked for too long. This journey was not planned. It was impulsive, as were the majority of her best judgments. Brooke had not intended to take some time away from Los Angeles to clear her mind after Hope had encouraged her to do so. But here she was, half a globe away from the Forrester family drama, Ridge's never-ending back and forth, and the weight of decades of mental turmoil. She rechecked the address on her phone. The cafe was just a few blocks away. As she strolled, she saw groups of visitors laughing over gelato, artists painting along the Arno, and street musicians filling the air with romance. She had no idea how tense she had been until the beauty of the city began to soften the rigidity in her shoulders. Brooke came to a halt as she rounded a corner. There he was, Nick Marone, sitting at a little table outside the cafe, a steaming espresso in front of him, sunglasses pushed back on his head. He had not changed much. He had a little more gray in his hair and a few more creases around his eyes, but he still exuded the gruff confidence she recalled. Her heart made a slight stutter, shocking her. "Brooke Logan," he murmured as he stood to welcome her, flashing his usual crooked grin. "Nick," she responded, unable to contain her smile as he leaned in and kissed her cheek. "You look incredible. You always say that. And I always mean it." They sat for a few moments just looking at each other. Their bond had not been broken down by the passage of time. Perhaps it had faded beneath layers of anguish, distance, and time, but it was still present, alive, flashing, and irrefutable. "Still sailing?" she inquired, her fingers closing around the warm porcelain cup placed in front of her by the waiter. "Always," Nick said, looking over his shoulder at the marina not far away. "I am moored here for a couple weeks, doing some business with a nearby vineyard. I thought I'd mix a little wine with pleasure. And I just happened to be in the neighborhood," Brooke joked playfully. He laughed. "Someone told me you might come. I didn't think you would." "Well, I needed some perspective," she explained. Los Angeles was getting loud. Nick nodded. "Same old circus?" "Exactly that." She stirred her coffee slowly. Ridge, Taylor, and Steffi, I simply couldn't do it anymore. You were always too good for all of that. She gazed at him, her gaze seeking. And you were always too good at saying exactly what I needed to hear. That's because it was true, Nick replied kindly. Brooke, you deserve serenity. You have every right to be happy, not chaos. Their gazes met again, and this time the silence between them was thicker, filled with unspoken words, memories, regrets, and possibly the potential of something new. They spent the day together, walking down the river and visiting the Uffizi, laughing like old friends who remembered how it felt to be weightless. By evening, the sun had set behind the hills, leaving a burnt orange glow on the terracotta roofs. They found a quiet trattoria away from the tourist crowds and shared a bottle of Chianti with spaghetti and anecdotes. Nick walked her back to her hotel long after midnight. Outside the door, she turned to face him, her hand on the keycard. Thank you for today, she replied softly. No, thank you, Nick answered. I haven't felt this whole in a long time. Neither moved. Then, slowly and tenderly, he brushed a strand of hair from her face. Brooke closed her eyes. Then the moment went. She offered him a short kiss on his cheek. Good night, Nick. Good night, Brooke. She stepped inside and locked the door, her heart pounding as if she were 20 again. But just as she turned away, her phone vibrated. A word from Hope. Mom, something has happened. With Lee. You are not going to believe this. The next morning, the pleasant serenity that had begun to settle was disturbed by one phone call. Brooke sat at the small bistro table in her hotel room, staring at her phone in bewilderment. Lee Finnegan, the calm, serene, and smart doctor who had brought her kid back from the brink, the woman who had always held firm in the face of hardship. She had a deeply buried secret that caused shockwaves across the family. Hope's voice quivered as she described everything over the phone. Mom, she kept something from all of us. Something enormous. You know how she avoids discussing her past? Her family. Yes, Brooke said, frowning. She always seemed private. As it turns out, Jack was not her only secret. Lee has a twin sister. Mom is a twin. Nobody knew. Not even Finn. Brooke blinked. A twin. Where was she all this time? That's the thing, Hope explained, her voice falling. She's been to a psychiatric facility. Because they were teenagers. The story flowed out in bits. Lee's twin, Liana, had experienced a psychological breakdown in her late teens. Her behavior had grown erratic, potentially hazardous. There had been an event, a fire. The family had kept it quiet. Lee, a bright medical student at the time, was offered the option of continuing her life or succumbing to her sister's tragic downward spiral. She decided to walk away. She transformed towns, identities, and everything,